Live from your news leader, this is WTAJ News at 11 in high definition.
You never think that it's going to hit a small rural town like this.
A small town is now feeling the big impact of the death of a local police officer after he was killed in the line of duty. Good evening and thanks for being with us. The borough of New Florence was quiet this morning as residents were trying to make sense of what happened the night before when a longtime police officer in the area was shot and killed. It happened just after 9 o'clock last night along Ligonier Street in New Florence, Westmoreland County. Officer Lloyd Reed of the St. Clair Police Department was responding to a domestic dispute call when he was shot. He was pronounced dead at Conemaugh Memorial Medical Center shortly after 10 o'clock.
This was a very difficult case to work by my office and along with the law enforcement and other agencies involved.
As Officer Reed was being transported, police in the area spent 6 hours searching for this man, 31-year-old Ray Shetler Jr. of New Enterprise. Shetler was arrested this morning when police found him walking near where the shooting took place. He's now facing charges of criminal homicide and is awaiting his hearing. Today, a memorial continued to grow in New Florence, where honoring Officer Reed. Our Marielena Baloris spent the day in Westmoreland County talking with people who knew him on how he'll be remembered.
Quiet, friendly, tight-knit. All words used to describe the small town of New Florence in Westmoreland County. But on Saturday night, as police searched for the suspected shooter, it was anything but that.
I mean, it's scary when you think you not only have to lock a door, you got to dig out a gun to possibly protect yourself and your family.
New Florence residents say they are devastated after learning that St. Clair police officer Lloyd Reed was shot and killed while responding to a domestic dispute.
It's a small community and everybody's hurt by it, and nobody definitely would ever expect something like this to happen.
And even if folks didn't know Officer Reed personally, they knew of his reputation.
He was always a good officer and out doing his job, doing what he loved when he died.
Sunday afternoon, neighbors gathered down the street from where Officer Reed was shot.
We wanted to make sure that we had the opportunity to honor our fallen officer, to show that we appreciate everything that our officers do and we respect what they do for a living and that they serve our community.
Law enforcement officers were also showing their respect. This was Officer Reed's police car. The Westmoreland County Sheriff stopped by earlier on Sunday to place this wreath on the front of his car.
How tragic it is that there's another funeral for a fallen police officer in our country and in our community.
Sheriff Jonathan Held says with domestic dispute calls, you have to hope for the best, but be prepared for the worst.
They're so emotionally charged, and things can get out of control very quickly, and that's why they are the worst types of calls.
The Cambria County Deputy Coroner says Officer Reed died from a single gunshot wound to the chest. He was wearing a bulletproof vest, but the bullet came in from the side and didn't hit the vest. And as neighbors in New Florence are still in shock over Officer Reed's death, they know that they at least have each other.
I mean, we always come together in tough times, and this is another one of those tough times.
In New Florence, I'm Marielena Baloris, WTAJ News.
Thank you, Lena. Support for Reed's family and colleagues continues to pour in from across the state. Governor Tom Wolf today said, quote, "Today and every day we are reminded that those that make the ultimate sacrifice to keep our community safe." And Senator Bob Casey took the time to respond to the shooting, thanking law enforcement for their quick work in getting the suspect. He added, quote, "Officer Lloyd Reed's sacrifice is a reminder of the risks endured by first responders daily. My thoughts and prayers are with his family and colleagues." State Police are holding a press conference tomorrow morning in Greensburg. You can stay up to date with the latest on this story at wearecentralpa.com. Just find the link to this story on our news tab.
Live from your news leader, this is WTAJ News at 6 in high definition.
It's tough. It's a hard thing to digest and to believe that this is happening, and it's happening in our society.
We truly appreciate all of the support, and I cannot thank everybody locally enough.
A makeshift memorial in Westmoreland County continues to grow as friends, colleagues, and a community remember a fallen officer. Good evening. Colleagues say Lloyd Reed Jr. died the way he lived and never thought twice about putting his life on the line Tonight, investigators continue to question the man accused of killing Reed, and there are a lot of unanswered questions. 31-year-old Ray Shetler Jr. was arrested early Sunday morning after a 6-hour manhunt. He is telling police that he did not know the man he shot at was in fact a police officer. State police held a news conference in Greensburg earlier today, revealing some new insight into this case. We now know that St. Clair Township Police Officer Lloyd Reed was accompanied by another officer. They were responding to a domestic dispute call on Saturday night in New Florence. At this point, it's unclear who fired first, but investigators say Reed ordered Shetler to drop his weapon before they exchanged gunfire.
Mr. Shetler had fired 3 rounds of a .270 caliber rifle at Officer Reed. And some of those rounds struck a building behind Officer Reed.
That rifle is still missing. Investigators believe that after Shetler ran off, he tossed it into the woods, and so state police are asking hunters and anyone who may come across a gun in the New Florence and Seward areas to not touch it, but contact them immediately. Officer Lloyd worked part-time with the St. Clair Police Department, but the danger is 24/7. State police say calls to domestic disputes are never routine, and there's always a risk. Our Kelsey Metzger spoke to investigators and those who knew Officer Reed. She begins our live team coverage. Kelsey?
Carolyn, it was an emotional morning as the captain of the St. Clair Township Police Department joined us this morning. He said that Officer Reed died the same way that he lived, always trying to help others. Now, he describes Officer Reed as a kind and gentle person, as well as a loving husband of 15 years. Reed spent more than 20 years with Seven Springs Borough Police and has since been with the St. Clair Township Police Department in Westmoreland County as a part-time officer. Now, with only 4 part-time officers working in the St. Clair Township Department, you can imagine they were a very tight-knit group. Within this small area, state police tell us that they have seen 3 police officers killed while on the job, and like Officer Reed, they put the public safety before their own.
He was a great asset to our department. As you stated, he was a 25-year veteran, and I don't know that we will be able to replace him.
It's tough. It's a hard thing to digest and to believe that this is happening, and it's happening in our society. But I know that they're a tough, resilient group, and they'll start the healing process.
Now, state police are taking over for St. Clair Township Police Department and the Seward Borough Township Police Department as well this week, so they can continue to mourn the loss of Officer Reed. A funeral service will be held here at the Cambria County War Memorial to honor this fallen hero. Reporting live in Johnstown, Kelsey Metzger, WTAJ News.
Thanks, Kelsey. And as we said, Officer Lloyd Reed, a 25-year police veteran, serving the last 5 in St. Clair Township. He was born in Somerset County and graduated from Conemaugh Township High School. He leaves behind a wife of 15 years. Our Christian Heilman went back to Reed's hometown, where tonight many are understandably heartbroken. Christian?
Well, Carolyn, today we caught up with the best friend of Reed's wife. She found out what happened Saturday night around 11. Diana Lawrence will never forget the phone call she took late Saturday night.
I kept saying to Adam, "Are you sure?" And he said, "Yeah, Diane." He said, "Lloyd was shot." And I just couldn't believe it.
The chief of police in Hooversville was on the line. She found out Reed was shot before his wife even knew.
You never think that's going to happen. It happens to other people. It doesn't happen to your best friends. And it did.
Lawrence is best friends with Lloyd's wife, Rosemary. She says Lloyd is a private person, and being a policeman defined his life.
Like all good policemen, they're here to protect and serve us, and that's what he did.
He responded to the domestic incident where a woman said she had a bloody nose and her boyfriend threatened to kill her and himself. Police say Officer Reed confronted the man outside his home, commanding him to put down his rifle. That's when he was shot.
And I believe in my heart that when Lloyd got out of that car, he was doing what he thought was to protect this woman.
Officer Reed's death comes as a great loss to everyone who knew him, including Lawrence.
Lloyd would give anybody anything. All you had to do was ask him.
Now she's been spending time on the phone talking with other family and friends, remembering her friend so closely connected to his career.
And he was an excellent, excellent policeman. And the world's going to miss someone like him.
Like we said earlier, a service for Officer Reed will be held this Friday at the Johnstown War Memorial. Venue managers there say they're easily expecting 2,000 people and first responders to come and pay their respects. Live in the studio, Christian Heilman, WTAJ News.
Very heartbreaking. Thank you, Christian. A fund has also been set up in honor and memory of Officer Reed. Donations can be sent to the Western Pennsylvania Police Benevolent Foundation in Canonsburg. And we've got all the information, including the memorial service information at the War Memorial, along with that donation information, all on our website, wearecentralpa.com.